Hi everybody, I hope you're doing well today. I am here for science for um, this week, and believe it or not, we have finished all of our science learning for 4th grade. So what we decided to do with the few weeks that we have left is to go way back to some of the things we did a really long time ago and review them a little bit and also do some new activities. So today you're going to need your slides, and they are called Ecosystems, Food Chains, and Food Webs Review Week. That's a long title. We're going back to the first unit we taught you way back in August, and it was about ecosystems and food webs and food chains. So I figured I might as well come outside to talk about this stuff because we're going to be looking at a really interesting ecosystem today. So the first thing I want you to do is take a look at this photograph that is on your first slide after day 1. And I want you to think about that photograph for a few minutes, and then I want you to go into your Google Doc under Science for this week, and I want you to type 3 things that you notice about that photograph. And then I want you to type 3 things that you wonder about that photograph. So go ahead and pause the video and get those typed up, and then come right back to the video. Okay, so the photo I just had you look at was to get you thinking back to ecosystems and animals and plants and food webs and food chains. And we're going to talk more about that photo later in the week. I'm interested to see what you guys think about it. So if you remember, in an ecosystem, all organisms have a role as either a producer, a consumer, or a decomposer. And producers are plants, and they get all of their energy from the sun. So all of the energy that starts every food chain and food web comes from the sun to the producers. Now, if you remember, consumers cannot make their own food, so they must rely on plants or other animals to get the energy they need to live. And finally, decomposers break down dead or decaying organisms and return that matter back to the soil, and that creates more producers. If you look at the next slide, I put a picture of a food chain and a food web just because it's been a while since we've seen those, and I wanted you to remember that a food chain is a path of energy transfer from one organism to another. Now, any kind of changes in an ecosystem can affect the flow of energy that starts from the sun to the producers and through the different consumers. If part of a food chain is changed, then plants or animals can become scarce, they can become extinct, or they can even become overabundant, where there are too many of those. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So in the next slide, you're going to see a video that you're going to watch, and it is about wolves in Yellowstone National Park. And when Yellowstone National Park was created, there were a lot of wolves out there. But the people who lived out there, mostly farmers, they thought that the wolves were a nuisance. They were a bother because they would eat their animals or destroy their crops. So they were hunted until they were pretty much gone. There were no wolves left in Yellowstone National Park. And it had some really incredible effects on that ecosystem. So this video is about when wolves were reintroduced back into Yellowstone Park not too long ago, and the incredible effects that that has. So pause my video, go and watch the wolf video, and then come right back. Okay, so wasn't that interesting? Can you see what huge changes one animal being introduced into an ecosystem can have on so many other plants, animals, and even water? So now I have another link on your slide that you can click on, and you can read more about the wolves in Yellowstone National Park, just to give you a little bit more information that'll help you with the activity that you're going to do. So pause my video, go and check out that website, and then come back. Okay, so after you have watched your video and read the website, I now want you to look at the next slide, and there's a graph, and that shows you the wolf populations and the elk populations in Yellowstone National Park from 1997 through 2011. And if you notice, the wolves are the red line and the elk are the blue line. So you can see that when the wolves first came back, there were not that many, and there were a lot of elk. and you can see the changes in population for both of those species over the years. Now, if you go to the next slide, you will see a picture of the food web for Yellowstone National Park. And there's all different things in there. Some of them you might never have heard of before. And there's going to be a list of them later that you can use in your work today, and also if you need to do research on something that you're not sure what it is. But the pictures should help. So, this is what you're going to do today. On the next slide, there are 4 different options of things that could happen at Yellowstone National Park. You are going to choose 2 of those options, so whichever 2 you're most interested in or think you know a little bit more about, and you're going to write a paragraph for each one, and you're going to explain to us what effects that option could have on this ecosystem. Now, I want you to be sure you include 3 effects that could happen. So 3 different things as a result of that change. So you're going to think about other populations, other species. Would they decrease? Would they increase? Could they go extinct? Could they become scarce? Could they become overabundant? So on the next slide, you'll see the choices, and the slide after that is a list of all the different species that you can use in your writing. So go ahead and go to your Google Doc for Science, where you just typed about the photograph, and you're going to type up your options that you chose and the paragraph explaining to us what effects on the ecosystem those changes could have. If you have any questions, send your teacher a message so that we can help you, and we look forward to seeing your work. And we will see you back again in a couple days for some more science. Take care, guys. Have a great day.